Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the channel Syed Fazil Bukhari. This is Bisma and today we'll be learning about climate change. The term is widely discussed internationally and so is equally important for CSS essay and current affairs. These are the headers that I'll be discussing today. Understanding climate change. How is it a threat to world peace and security? Relationship between climate change and economy. What is climate justice? And the global initiatives that are taken for climate change. Understanding climate change. Simply put, climate change is the long-term alteration of temperature that results in typical weather patterns such as prolonged period of droughts, increased precipitation, and heavy floods. Since pre-industrial times, the hike in carbon dioxide levels was recorded per year that add up to increase only 1 degree of global temperature. 1 degree was fine. It was not a threat, and the scientists didn't give us a red alert for climate change. Because जो 1 degree temperature rise हुआ था, that took place in nearly 10 years. However, today, the Earth is warming up at the rate of 1.5 degrees in just 10 years. So I'll repeat it here that 1 degree rise हुआ था 100 सालों में और now after so many years of industrial revolution the earth is warming up at the rate of 1.5 degrees in just 10 years. Also, I'd like to mention here that we often confuse the term with greenhouse effect and global warming. Although greenhouse effect combining with global warming is known as climate change. Greenhouse effect is nothing but just the trapping of gases in the atmosphere of the earth and making a layer of gases between the earth and the atmosphere. Similarly, उस trapping of gases की वजह से जो warm up हो रहा है earth हमारा जिसकी वजह से temperature rise हो रहा है, that phenomena is known as global warming. Both of these combined are known as climate change. Why is it important? क्यों हम इसको इतना डिस्कस कर रहे हैं आज? पहले भी तो इतनी गर्मी होती थी. Why are we discussing climate change so much today than 5 years from today? As of now, as you all know, Earth is the only livable planet and we have to take care of it. Also, the world is tapping the resources very liberally, especially the developed world, Russia, United States, and China. They are tapping the earth's minerals and resources very liberally and brutally, and this has made irreparable damage to the planet. Moving forward, these are the drivers and indicators of climate change. Drivers are divided in 3: natural drivers, man-made drivers, and economic drivers. Natural drivers can be plate tectonics and solar radiation variations and volcanic activity and etc. Man-made drivers can be chlorofluorocarbons, emissions of ozone, aerosols, and GHG emissions, ozone depletion, urbanization, population explosion. So these are the drivers. Indicators वो होते हैं जिससे हमें पता चलता है कि climate change हो रहा है और scientists record the rate of climate change through these indicators. So annual greenhouse gas index, simply number of frost-free days. Frost-free days means the number of summer season और कितना दिन हमारे पास गर्मियां आती हैं, कितने दिन हमारे पास सर्दियां आ रही हैं. So that is known as the number of frost-free days. Global surface temperatures and sea level changes. Now, how is it a threat to world peace and security? World peace and security क्यों threat हो रही है because of climate change? Climate change encourages conflict over shared resources. A very simple and typical example of this is the Indus River. Indus River is a shared commodity. As you all know, China, Pakistan, and India are using this water resource for all purposes, especially for energy generation. So According to the report of NASA, 85% of this delta has shrunk till date. Floods and droughts impacts global food production and raw material supply. अब ग्लोबल फूड प्रोडक्शन कैसे इम्पैक्ट हो रही है बिकॉज ऑफ क्लाइमेट चेंज. फ्लड्स आ गए, इंक्रीज प्रेसिपिटेशन हो गई, पूरे क्रॉप्स खराब हो गए, ड्राउट आ गया तो कोई पानी ही नहीं दिया क्रॉप्स को, कोई मिनरल्स ही नहीं मिले उनको, तो कैसे प्रोडक्शन हुई नहीं, मटेरियल सप्लाई हुआ नहीं, इंपोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट पूरा आपका जो फूड सप्लाई एंड डिमांड की जो चेन है दैट इज डिस्टर्ब्ड. Global markets downfall, economic repercussions due to extreme weather conditions. Imports and exports are affected, and the demand supply needs are not fulfilled. Climate change fuels tension over energy supply. Warmer temperature increases the energy demand for cooling in summer. Climate-induced migration and border disputes. A simple example of this is Switzerland and Italy. Switzerland और Italy के बीच में जो border है that is not a proper border, it is a glacial border. मतलब उनके दोनों के बीच में ग्लेशियर की border है. अब वो glaciers melt हो रहे हैं, तो both of the states are claiming their territories. So that's a dispute and that's a threat to world peace. Moving ahead, what is the relationship between climate change and economy? I think it's a very important and a very crucial relationship at the same time. Increase in natural disasters, of course, projection of poverty. पाकिस्तान की एग्जाम्पल ले लेते हैं. इतने फ्लड्स के बाद पॉवर्टी राइज हो गई है एंड अर्बन स्लम्स बन गए हैं, रूरल टू अर्बन माइग्रेशन हो गई है. इन्फ्लुएंस ऑफ क्लाइमेट चेंज ऑन एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्शन, अगेन फ्लड्स की वजह से क्रॉप्स डैमेज हुए, लाइफ स्टॉक डैमेज हुआ, तो एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्शन वैसे ही रिड्यूस हो गई. पाकिस्तान बीइंग एन एग्रो इकोनॉमी डिपेंड्स 64% on agriculture, and since it's in a downturn, the economy relationship is in a crisis. It is a potential driver to health vulnerabilities. Since climate change हो रहा है तो बहुत ज्यादा गर्मी है, हीट स्ट्रोक्स हैं, डेंगी है, all the other health vulnerabilities result in lower human resource. लेबर नहीं आ रहा, काम पे काम हो नहीं रहा. So that is a relationship, that is how climate change related to economy. Threat to main seaports and trade routes. Gwadar is our main seaport, and Balochistan, pura hi it's underwater. So the main trade routes and seaports are very much vulnerable to climate change. Climate change impacts food production, results in increase in port spills. As you all know, पाकिस्तान में wheat हम import करते हैं, petrol हम import करते हैं, चाय हम import करते हैं. All the main crops that are essential for day-to-day lives are imported. अब इससे क्या होगा, हमारी ऑलरेडी क्रिपलिंग इकोनॉमी है एंड इम्पोर्ट्स बिल हमारा बढ़ता जा रहा है, एक्सपोर्ट्स बिल उतना ही कम हो रहा है. सो दैट इज हाउ वी डिफाइन द रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन क्लाइमेट चेंज एंड इकोनॉमी. This is a flowchart that I've made to ease up the whole process of climate change and economy. What is climate justice? I think this term would be new for some of you, but climate justice is safeguarding the rights of the people most affected by climate change. It is a human-centered approach to the problem. The historically marginalized community which is least responsible for the catastrophe, yet they share the burden of the climate impact equitably and fairly. इसका सिंपली मतलब ये है कि हम गाड़ियों वाले हैं, हमारे पास एसी हैं, हम एरोजोल्स रिलीज कर रहे हैं, हम कार्बन एमिशंस कर रहे हैं. सबसे ज्यादा हमारा रोल है, हमारा कंट्रीब्यूशन है इन क्लाइमेट चेंज. Still, we are untouched by these catastrophes. We are untouched by floods. We are untouched by droughts. हमें कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता अगर बहुत ज्यादा प्रेसिपिटेशन हो जाती है. लेकिन वो लोग जो रूरल एरियाज में रहते हैं, जो रिलाय करते हैं क्रॉप्स पे, जो रिलाय करते हैं लाइफ स्टॉक पे, lands पे, since they don't contribute so much to this climate catastrophe, still they are reaping the burdens of climate impact equitably and fairly. नुकसान उनका ज्यादा होता है, although उनका contribution बहुत minimal है. वो displace हो रहे हैं because of floods, because of droughts. These are the global initiatives taking place for climate change. UNFCCC is United Nations Framework Conventions for Climate Change, also known as Rio Summit. Kyoto Protocol was held in Japan, also known as COP, Conference of Parties number 3. Paris Agreement, obviously held in Paris, which was known as COP21. Montreal Protocol was done to protect specifically the ozone layer. COP26 was held last year in November in Glasgow, United Kingdom. And this year, COP27 will be held in November in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. Moving forward, these are some solutions that can be implemented to mitigate the climate change. Use of alternate energy resources such as wind power, biomass, solar energy. Instead of using fossil fuels, coal, and other petrol and other like hydropower, wind power use kar lein, solar energy use kar lein. That is green and it is sustainable. Ensuring food security through climate resilient crops. Carbon tapping and carbon taxing. Carbon tapping and taxing ये होता है कि taxing मतलब for example China is allowed 20% of emissions in 6 months. अगर उन्होंने 20% से exceed किया तो उनकी emissions को tax करेंगे. So that would be a negative point for their economy. Similarly, carbon tapping कि जो आप carbon emissions कर रहे हो उसको आप in a way move back कर दो and use that as a fuel to fuel your industries. Phase out and phase down carbon emissions. Broad-based economic plans should be initiated especially for developing countries. These are some of the references that I've collected. You may use them in your answers. I personally believe that references and statistics play an important role in your answer. These are the essence of your answer, and if you add them, the examiner has an impact that you have done specific readings, not just for the sake of passing the exam. These are some statistics that you can also add in your answer. That's it. This is a free CSS motivational quote for you. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So don't fail to plan, because आप अपनी journey को schedule करें, routine बनाएं, and then work on it. That's it for today. Please give us your valuable feedback in the comment section. Keep learning and keep watching Syed Fazil Bukhari. Take care. Allah Hafiz.